Okay, guys, so we have now another expert here. It's a pleasure for me to introduce Thomas from company Intel. Yeah, it's really Intel, the huge worldwide well-known company. So Thomas, nice to have you here. We have some questions for you.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Great to be here with Conrad at Embedded World 2016.
Okay, some questions, because of course the Embedded World Fair here is mainly on microcontrollers and different solutions. So challenging hardware for really high-end and sophisticated applications. That's what many developers are looking here for. Conrad is a well-known distributor, of course, had a lot of solutions. We're really proud to have such famous company like Intel here. We talk about one Intel platform which is called Intel Edison. It's a chipset and it's actually a kit, complete hardware. Is that right?
Yeah, it's correct. So we introduced Edison 18 months back in time, and we offer breakout boards and Arduino boards to make it easy for people to work with the Edison module.
Okay. Very good. So I think you have the right product. So it's a lot more behind of that. And you have a nice slogan. I like it very much. Intel Edison, what will you make? Can you explain the slogan? What is the background?
Yeah. So, don't know exact background for it. Personally, I think it's a great catchphrase with the association to the maker community. And when we started this, it was a lot about hobbyists and makers and maker communities. What we are seeing is that this is going into the pro maker space. It's actually also going into, I would call it semi-professional, where many of our customers actually are using Edison to do internal rapid prototype, to show concepts of new products, etc. So we see a lot of excitement in the market on our Edison offering.
Yeah, that's right. We also feel that, of course, at Conrad Electronic, a lot of is happening, and sometimes students are starting programming or have an idea. They maybe are more software people looking for hardware. Intel is known by everybody, of course, for many years, because they historically are part of the inventors of the personal computer, actually, I have learned. So our typical audience or the programmers, maybe they are young people, but also experienced people or companies. They are looking for a solution. Of course, the advantage of this, we have seen there is a 3-core kernel inside. What is that for?
Yeah, so actually Edison is, first of all, it's a small module, and you can easily create your carrier board if you don't want to use the available from our ecosystem or what we provide. And it's, as you said, 3-core based, so there are 2 compute complex. One is a dual core Atom category of core, the other is more a low-end MCU, low power core. So these are separated or communicate by shared memory, so you could see them as 2 separate entities, right? And the key benefit on this partitioning is that we obviously can run just the low power core and get really low power consumption, or as low as down to 13 milliwatt if you have Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi turned off. So that also says, I mean, we offer obviously Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on the module, right? So I think it's a good partitioning, and a typical use case, you can run this in low power mode, and if you have a sensor connected to general purpose I/O and you can detect an event, and then you sort of move from that low power state, go into turn on the Atom core and do some compute on that. And if you do local analytics or you do some filtering of sensor data, etc. So really powerful.
Yeah, that's right. It looks really like, and of course, when you talk about Intel Atom, which is on the market for years now, but some new extension or developments which is combined in a 3-core environment, and it's very strong. And of course, if we can help to save the global climate and save the environment, it's very something positive. To save power, electrical power, and to downsize to a minimum of consumption. Very good.
So I think this environmental sustainability vector is something which is very important. Obviously the processors themselves go down in power, but actually the IoT usage model where you can monitor energy consumption and you can do a lot of clever things when heating your houses or apartments, etc. So I think it also contributes in a sort of a second wave to the sustainability thing which is high on the agenda, and especially here in Germany, right?
Yes, of course. It's a big topic, of course, yeah. Let's a little bit talk about how it is working. Actually, we have known Intel chips and microcontrollers for a long time, but they are actually combined with our operating system or something like that. Is it flexible? So is it possible to update? It's open for the future, or how is the philosophy?
I think let me talk about Intel operating strategy in general. And even though if you didn't tell me, I think there were references to Microsoft, which we have worked with for many, many years. And Microsoft with Windows 10 IoT Core and Azure Cloud is a great partner to work on the IoT opportunity. That said, we are also working on Edison, which the dual-core Atom is running Yocto-based Linux, and the other low-power core is running Viper, a real-time operating system, right? So what we try to offer to the market, obviously we can't offer all flavors of operating system on every product, but the intent is always to offer customers platform of choice. And Microsoft, Linux, and others play a role there.
Okay, I didn't want to ask about Microsoft because I wasn't sure about the relation nowadays. Now I have the impression you are much more open and it's not linked to any corporation. So if you talk about Linux and things like that, this is absolutely open philosophy, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, everyone is aware that Intel have a lot of Linux engineers, and we contribute to open source, and not only on Intel. I mean, open source offers scalability on the market. That said, we never exclude Microsoft. We do a lot still with Microsoft in multiple areas. So.
Okay, but we know also that developers like Linux very much, and so they want to have an open surround. Everything is possible. I think when I had a look into internet and the Intel page, I just can recommend to do that because it makes a very strong impression about. Even I have the feeling that you are at the heart of IoT or something. Yeah, just have a look. I think it's really something for the future. And yeah, I would say thank you very much, Thomas, for this interview. We just we scratch a little bit on the surface. We go not very deeply inside the technology, but Intel Edison is something you should really keep in mind. And maybe it's something for you. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, so maybe to conclude from my side, you mentioned IoT and Intel being in the center of it. We are obviously doing a lot of activities in IoT, and I would like to highlight one thing we are doing locally here in the European region, and that is we actually have IoT ignition labs where we bring together the full value chain, everything from the people who do the boards, the OEM who creates the product, ISVs, integrator, and customer, and try to do IoT for real. And that is one use case for Edison. When we try to do rapid prototyping, we use Edison, then we take the next step and use more commercial products and bring this to market. So big thanks. Thanks for having me, Wolfgang. Pleasure.
Pleasure for me. Thank you. And let's look in the future. I think we are in the beginning for many things will come in future. Let's be curious and have a look inside. Okay, thank you.